welcome back. Welcome to a super special video. This is a video that I have literally always wanted to do, and this one is all about my first trimester of pregnancy. But we're going to start from the beginning. We're going to start from how I prepared for pregnancy. We're going to go into how I found out I was pregnant. Then we're going to go into when I found out it was twins, and then just some first trimester symptoms. So it's going to be a really fun video. I did bring my notes because pregnancy brain has gotten me from the beginning. That's what I know for sure. So let's get into it. So we're going to start with how I prepared for pregnancy. So you guys probably last seen me in a full vlog when we were in Jamaica last August. That was a trip that we had planned for a while, and me and Jamal had decided we would start trying after that trip for a baby. Even prior to trying, there were just a few things that I did that helped me, I believe, to get it to my successful pregnancy journey. So, how I prepared for pregnancy. Okay, so even before that August, when we knew we would start trying, that year before, I really focused on my weight loss and weight management. I lost about maybe 30 pounds. About 30 pounds. I got my body right. I consistently did my yoga. I tried to eat a lot cleaner. I have a thyroid condition, hypothyroidism, so I made sure that my medication was right. I really took that time to focus on my overall health, and I think that is so important if you're planning for your pregnancy journey, because at the end of the day, why wouldn't you want to keep the vessel that you're going to build your babies in as healthy and as active as possible? So weight loss was like my very first preparation, and that happened, started happening like the October before. Another thing that I did to prepare was I started taking supplements. If you know me, I am obsessed with vitamins. If you tell me something could make my life easier or make me feel better, I probably will take it. And I don't do gummies for the most part because I believe that if it tastes disgusting, then it's probably good for my body. So I take a whole lot of supplements. These are the ones that I added to specifically get pregnant and have a successful pregnancy. So I started taking Maga Root. I just got a supplement form from Amazon. CoQ10, magnesium, the one with the G, glycerin, glycinate, magnesium with the G. I don't know. I'll put it either here on the side, probably on this side, or in the comments. But I'll list all the supplements. And then I started taking prenatal vitamins, because you have to have your folic acid at you have to have a certain amount of folic acid in your body to help support your baby's neural tubes. And that happens prior to you getting pregnant. So have the folic acid, have everything that you need, have all the vitamins that you need already in your body, so that when that baby gets in there, it just has a nice cozy environment to pull from everything it needs. Trying. So now fast forward, it's after our Jamaica trip in August, and we decide to start trying. So I took the route of specifically cycle tracking. So for years I used a period app called Period Tracker. When I say for years, I probably used it for the past like 8 or 9 years. So my periods were like clockwork, very easy to track, 28-day cycles. And my ovulation happened specifically when the app said it would happen. So the way that I was able to tell when I ovulated was by utilizing ovulation test strips, of course. So I did the whole thing. I counted my cycle, I understood my ovulation days, and we would do your thing around our ovulation days. We'll do our thing around our ovulation days. You guys know how that all works. So that is the route that we first took. And we were basically trying from August to, I want to say, October. So not a long time. It normally takes people up to a year to get pregnant. So not a long time. From August to October, when I was talking to a friend, and a friend was like, hey, when you reach your 30s and everything, you've had all your systems down there for a while. She suggested that, before she started trying, or before anyone starts trying, to get what you call an HSG procedure, I believe it was called. But basically that is when you go and you get some fluids pushed into your tubes so they can do an x-ray and make sure that there are no blockages in your tubes. Now, the type of fluids that they use, if there is like minor blockages, these fluids will essentially push that gunk or old stuff out the way, just to clear up the pathway from your ovaries to your uterus. So I was like, I'm the type of person, like, I'll try anything once, as long as it's not going to be detrimental to my body or myself. So I was like, sure, why not? I reached out to a doctor. I got the procedure scheduled, and when I went, they did advise me. When I went, okay, a lot of people, when I was looking on like TikTok and YouTube and stuff, were saying like it was super duper painful. So I was prepared for the worst. And mind you, I'm a person that has like really bad cramps and stuff like that. So my tolerance for pain may be higher than others, but it was literally like 1 minute of them pushing solution through your tubes, and it was probably a level 4 pain. It was nothing like to be afraid of. So if you're getting this procedure and you're worried about it, listen to me. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's going to be quick and easy. Now, when I got my procedure, I had one tube that was blocked. And then one tube, she was partially blocked, but she felt like that it was like a polyp in the way of it. Like she can see like the water kind of trying to come through, but it just or the dye or whatever. I'm not a doctor, whatever you use for X-ray, trying to come through, but it just didn't get as much through as she wanted to. So it did end up pushing through, but it was still partially blocked. And she figured it might have been because of a polyp. So that was not the best news for me, because no one wants to hear that one of the tubes is completely blocked and then the other one is partially blocked. So I had to deal with that. And then we were coming up on the holidays, and essentially at that time we had to stop trying, because Jamal ended up realizing learning that he had to get a hip replacement. So if you guys all know that Jamal played basketball, I'm sure. He played basketball overseas for a certain amount of time, and for a while his hip had been bothering him, to the point when we went to the doctor to see what was really going on, because men take forever to go to the doctor. Whole nother story. When we went to the doctor to see what was going on, we learned that his hip was like in super duper bad shape. So they recommended that he get a replacement as soon as possible, and they basically put us on a wait list for his replacement, and then that replacement happened in November. So in November we focused on getting Jamal healed. November, December, and really January was all about Jamal's healing. The holidays, spending time with the family, was not about trying for babies. So that got put on the back burner, and during that time I was able to get other fertility tests done, just to make sure that everything was working the way that it was supposed to do. Those specific tests was due to the polyps, and I believe it was called like an SIS. It's like a sonogram. I don't know. I'll put that up there too. So basically they pushed some more fluid into my uterus somehow, and they got a picture of the polyps in my uterus. So if you have polyps, basically if you have, your uterus is supposed to be a nice, pretty, smooth environment like this. And if you have polyps, the baby, it does not have a place to implant. Well, if they implant on the polyps, there's not a likelihood that that pregnancy will keep. So a lot of people have polyps. That's a common thing. But my issue was, as soon as they gave me that sonogram, I had looked previously on pictures of what it was supposed to look like. Your uterus is basically supposed to look like a smooth gap between each end, like this. Mine's looked like a bumpy road. There was not an area in my uterus where there were no polyps. I had polyps everywhere. It was so ugly. My uterus was not cute. It looked terrible. And those polyps were also blocking my tubes. So I had to get a procedure done to get the polyps removed. So once Jamal was healed around January, that February I got a procedure done to get my polyps removed, and I have some before and after pictures, but I'm not going to show you guys because it's a little invasive, you know. But basically we got those polyps removed, and my uterus is now very pretty. She got her makeover. She looks cute, and she was a perfect environment for a baby. This is the last thing I did in preparation for pregnancy. I almost forgot to talk about it, but I am going to talk about it now. I went to acupuncture the week that we were trying to conceive, to help like the baby implant and everything. And my acupuncturist, Hannah, was just the most amazing person. She specifically focused on fertility acupuncture, and I do think that was something that helped me, because that's something that I only did this time that we tried, and it ended up working. So if you're looking into that, I would say 10 out of 10 do recommend. There was one more thing that I did prior to that polyp removal that I do want to speak to, and this would kind of be a part of my preparation for pregnancy, and that is I went on a Daniel fast. I'm the type of person where if things are not looking good and it doesn't look like the outcome will be what I imagine it to be or want it to be, I have been trained by my family, by my mother and everything, to, instead of saying woe is me, bring it to God. And when I brought it to God, God told me to do the Daniel fast, and it's something I've done before, and I was like, it's not my favorite thing to do, but sure, I'll do it. I do it for the 28 days before like my period. So even during where I was having the polyp surgery, I was in the middle of the Daniel fast. So I was eating really, really clean. And if you guys want to know what the Daniel fast is, I'll put some information down below. But basically, it's a fast, a vegan fast where you're not eating any sugar or anything that is processed. It's really about healthy eating and your connection with God. So I did do that for 28 days, the 28 days before my cycle as well. And those were kind of the things that I did to prepare. Excuse me, guys, because I'm so out of breath. I am constantly out of breath now. It's so embarrassing. Every time I'm talking to somebody, they're like, are you okay? Do you need an inhaler? No, my lungs are just at my boobs, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, completed the Daniel fast. We went on to try again, and this is basically when it happened. So quickly after we tried, I will say, you know, that whole week after trying, if you've ever tried for pregnancy in a non-natural way where you're calculating and counting and planning everything like I was, it is not easy on your brain, because you get to the day where you know you can take a test and you're like, should I take a test and be disappointed, or should I just see if my period is late and then take a test? And the period late is probably always the option, but that's not what I did. So this is how I found out I was pregnant. As soon as we were at the earliest you can do with early response, I took a test. And when I tell you, the moment I peed on the stick, you can see like the wetness coming across your pregnancy test. As soon as that wetness hit that first line, it immediately turned pink. Like, I immediately knew I was pregnant. I was like in my bathroom. I was by myself. Jamal wasn't here. It was Easter. I was literally on the floor. I didn't know what to do, who to call, nothing. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. So naturally, I went and took like more of the pregnancy test, and they all said pregnant. And it was quite literally the best feeling. It almost felt like an out of body experience. It was quite literally the best feeling that I had ever felt, because it's like it's something that I always knew I wanted. Then it was something that was starting to feel a little bit impossible, and then it happened during God's timing. So it was just an overall humongous blessing. I'm gonna stop this video right now as part one of just how I learned I was pregnant. And then we're gonna get into part two, where I talk about my pre-pregnancy symptoms and everything. So I just want to thank you guys again for joining.